Hello and welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint Show. I am your host, Jay Jones. Black Entrepreneur Blueprint was created specifically to educate and inspire Black entrepreneurs to launch, build, and grow successful businesses. Join us as we help build an economic power base in the Black community by promoting business ownership. If you are currently an entrepreneur or want to be an entrepreneur, we invite you to join us every week here at Black Entrepreneur Blueprint.
Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, episode number 386. I'm your host, Jay Jones, and today we have another outstanding and informative show in store for you. Today, family, we're going to talk about the number one metric successful entrepreneurs look at every morning, and it's not money. The number one metric successful entrepreneurs look at every morning, and it is not money. Now, we know as entrepreneurs that most people measure success by money, and that obviously is a great measuring stick. But what metric is so closely associated with that monetary gain and goes mostly unrecognized? And we're going to talk about that on today's episode. Now, before we dive on in, let me just share a few things with the BEB family. First and foremost, I want to welcome all first-time listeners to Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. Welcome to the BEB family. Please stick around until the end of today's broadcast, and I'm going to share all my social media contact information and my resource links, such as the link to my new book, A New Black Wall Street, Circulating the Black Dollar Worldwide by Building Successful E-Commerce Businesses. Also, my two platforms I've created to help circulate dollars in the worldwide Black economy, BeSmartByBlack.com and HireBlackFreelancers.com. And also, don't forget my new rebranded, rebooted BEBAcademy.com, Black Entrepreneur Blueprint Academy. In the academy, we have all types of online courses, tutorials, masterclasses, and resources to help you elevate your entrepreneur IQ. Now, it doesn't matter if you're a prospective entrepreneur or an existing entrepreneur. If you want to elevate your entrepreneur IQ, get 3 days free access to the academy. Try it before you buy it. Go to BEBAcademy.com. Now, let's get ready for today's show. So you're probably thinking, what the heck is this guy talking about based on the title of today's episode, the number one metric successful entrepreneurs look at every morning, and it's not money. So if it's not money, Jay, what is it? And I'm about to break this down for you today. So there are a lot of things that you do in your business that are related to your money, the money that you make. Certain things are a function of your money. You do certain things and your money increases. So it's a function of your money. So the thing that you want to focus on every morning is not how much money you have in your bank account, but how many new leads did you put into your database? You see, the size of your database correlates to your bank account. So the bigger your database, if you're working it correctly, the more money you should have in your bank account. It is a function of your database. So everybody worries about the money, but you can't get the money, not consistently, not predictable monies, if you don't have a database. And we're going to dive into that today. And I know I talk about this a lot, but I'm trying to get through to you guys that you need to build a database. It's your biggest asset of your business. So today we're going to talk about discussing why your database is the number one asset in your business. And I'm going to give you some simple ways to grow your database and grow your revenues. So we're going to talk about growing your database and growing your revenues. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be talking about something that piggybacks off of today's episode on my companion podcast tomorrow, December 7th, 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, my Ask Jay Live companion podcast. Now, tomorrow I'm going to be talking about 3 little used platforms that can exponentially grow your database and drive record sales. So it's kind of piggybacking off of today's BEB episode. Make sure you guys subscribe. It's exclusively on the call-in app. So go to askjlive.com and you can subscribe. And tomorrow, December 7th, 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, you guys can come and listen to the podcast and you can ask me questions, anything about your business, my business, or entrepreneurship in general. But let's jump on back to this. So today, guys, we're going to discuss your database and why it's the number one asset in your business. And I'm going to give you some simple ways to grow your database and in turn, grow your revenues. So let's start off talking about the importance of having a responsive database. And I use the word responsive because you want a database that's been scrubbed periodically. And what that means is, just say you have 100,000 people in your database and somebody hasn't opened an email in 6 months. You want to get rid of that email because they're not responsive. And so every 3 to 4 months, you need to purge your database to make sure that it's a responsive database. So some of the benefits of having a responsive database, and when I say database, I'm talking about emails and cell phone numbers for texting if you do texting to your prospects or your customers. So emails and cell phone numbers, not social media contacts or connections, Facebook likes, any of that stuff. Once again, you need to be able to control your database. So if you have an Instagram account with 10,000 IG followers, you get shut down on Instagram, guess what? You have no database. So your social media should be used to help build your database. Drive that social media audience that you have to sign up for your email and or cell phone or texting if you do text numbers. I just want to make sure that you guys understand the importance of owning your data. And the only way you're going to do that is if you have emails or text phone numbers and stuff like that, because there's so many people I've talked to in business that built their business around social media, then ended up getting kicked off of social media and literally losing their business overnight. So don't let that be you, okay? So let's talk about some of the benefits of having a responsive database. All right, number one, your sales are a direct function of your database. So guys, the larger your database, the more money you're going to make. Your sales are a direct function of your database. And we're going to break this down a little bit later. Okay. Control. Number two, you're in control of your database and you own it. You don't own your followers on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook. You don't own them. Okay. They're on that platform. You get shut down from that platform. Guess what? You're done. All right. Security. Number three, now you can take your data. Nobody can take your database from you. It's what I've been talking about. Nobody can take your database from you. Literally, guys, I'm telling you, there are people that I talk to have literally lost their business in nanoseconds because one of the platforms has taken them down and now they have no way to contact or connect to their audience. Okay, don't let that be you. Another benefit, number four, is sales. You can generate sales at any time by soliciting your database. It's like turning on a faucet. And I'm going to give you an example of company A or business owner A and business owner B, just to show you. Now, both business owner A and business owner B sell the same exact product, right? They sell a $79 steam mop. Now, business owner A has a 1,000 person database. They've collected emails for 1,000 people. Now, they've both been in business for the same amount of time, right? Just say they're in business for 3 years. So he has 1,000 people. Now, when he sends out a promotional sale, he gets a 3% conversion rate. So out of those 1,000 people, you get a 3% return, and that means you get 30 sales. So now he has 30 sales on a $79 product. So the revenue for that is $2,370. Okay. Now, business owner B, who's been in business the same time as business owner A, 3 years, also sells the exact same steam mop for $79. The difference is he has a database of 15,000 people. His conversion rate is the same, 3%. So 3% of 15,000 equals 450 sales. Now, those 450 sales at $79 a piece turns out to produce revenue of $35,500. So you have business owner A with 1,000 people in their database, business owner B with 15,000 people in their database. Same length of business, same product exactly that they're selling, same conversion rate. The only difference is the database. Who are you selling to? Who is in your audience? Who have you connected with? I tell people all the time, the difference between $1 million launch and $100 launch isn't necessarily the product or service or the person or business that's launching it. It's the database. Your revenues, your monies are a function of your database. So when you wake up in the morning, I need you guys to hear me out now. When you wake up in the morning, stop looking at your bank account. That's the second thing you look at. The first thing that you look at is how many people have I added to my database overnight from yesterday. So here's a perfect example. Now I'm in the process now. I'm retooling all types of stuff. My website, the music, everything is a refresh and rebrand for Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. I looked this morning at how many people I added to my database, and I have different funnels out there. So yesterday I added over, I think it was like 327 people or something like that. But that's actually not good for me because I'm usually up to about 450, 500 people a day based on what I'm working on and what I'm marketing. So that's my thing. And I know the more people I add to my database, the more money I'm going to make. Now, it might not show up today that I'm going to make more money, but it eventually will show up. Let me give you a real life example when I owned my mortgage business. So I used to do a lot of direct mail, billboards, newspaper, email advertising at the time. And my lead magnet, which is a piece of content that your prospective customers or current customers have an interest in, quality content, I would send that out and people would respond. One of our biggest campaigns was to consolidate debt by doing a refinance. I'm a big numbers guy. So when I started looking at my numbers, what I realized was that the people that I was doing loans for this month were contacted usually anywhere around 3 to 4 months prior. They've responded to one of our marketing campaigns, and we put them in the database and continue to market to them. So if I took a month, any random month out of any year when I was in that business, what I found was about 30 to 32% of the sales or the loans closed for that month came from people that we had initially contacted or that they contacted us 3 to 4 months ago. So as I was saying, you're not going to necessarily see the increase in sales or in your bank account right away. But I knew that if I had a good month and got 1,000 people in my database 3 months ago, within 90 to 120 days, I'm going to see a nice month in terms of revenues. So once again, your monies are directly associated with your database. So as we're close to the holidays, you see all the companies advertising, small, large, it doesn't matter, for the holiday rush in Q4 to generate a whole bunch of sales, right? Now, just think about Amazon and Amazon's Prime Day or days. They have multiple Prime Days now. When you own your own database, you can create an quote unquote Amazon Prime Day any day you want. All Amazon is doing is they're marketing discounts and sales to their database. And that's the same thing you can do. So when I say you can turn a faucet off or on, you literally can do that. Now, obviously, you have to make a plan and make sure you have a quality product or service. And once again, you want to make sure that your database is scrubbed, meaning that it is a responsive database. So here's some important information that pertains to your database, guys, that you really need to understand. And you want to understand why building a large database is important. So according to statistics for 2021, I believe up until September, the average email open rate was 16.97%. 16.97%. So if you sent out 100 emails, only 16.97, almost 17 would get opened. Now, with that, with a click-through rate of 10.29%, all right? So that means only 17% of the people opened your email. And if there was something else that they had to do and click through, only 10% of those 17% that opened the email actually clicked through. So once again, the size of your database is directly correlated to your monies. Okay. And once again, I know you can reach people outside of email, but email is what you control. And what we're talking about today, guys, is the number one metric successful entrepreneurs look at every morning, and it's not money. So you guys know now the number one metric you should focus on is how many people did you add to your database? Once again, you may have multiple products, may have multiple funnels, but the bottom line is adding new people to your database every day. That's the first thing I look at through. I have a couple ConvertKit accounts and I also have an Aweber account. And I look at that first thing every morning. Then I go to the bank account. All right, so let's talk real quick about how do you increase your database? How do you increase your database? So you increase your database, guys, by getting traffic to your lead magnets. And I'm not going to go super heavy into lead magnets today, but once again, you want to get people's email addresses. So just think about some of your journeys on the internet. Oh, somebody has some content or information for you that's going to help you do something. But in order to get it, you got to put in your name and your email address. That's called a lead magnet. And what that is, it's a piece of valuable content that your audience wants or needs. So if you wanted to start a podcast and I had a lead magnet sitting on a landing page that says the 10 critical mistakes that you cannot make when you start your podcast, that's a good lead magnet for somebody that's never started a podcast. Well, let me go and download this PDF or this checklist to see what I should not do. I need to avoid these things. Okay. So how do you increase your database? By getting traffic to your lead magnet. The next question is, how do you get that traffic? And you get that traffic with media, whether you know it or you don't know it. That's how you get your traffic. And there's only 3 types of media. You have owned media, earned media, and paid media. I've talked about this on a couple other episodes, but if you didn't hear those episodes, let me just break this down for you real quick. So what we're talking about is building a database, because your database is strongly correlated to your bank account. Now, in order to build your database, in order to increase it, you have to run traffic to your lead magnets to increase your database. And we're talking about a database of emails and cell phone numbers where you can text. You have social media contacts and followers. That's all good and dandy, but they should be used to build your email database. Okay. So we talked about that's how you increase your database with lead magnets. All right. How do you get the traffic? With media. And the 3 types of media are owned, earned, and paid. So owned media is the best type of media because you control it and it doesn't cost you anything to connect with your audience. So once you have owned media, now, if you have a podcast, if you have a blog or whatever, and you want to connect with your audience, guess what? You already have them there. You have the database. You literally can email them. That's owned media. Nobody can do anything to shut that down. Owned media is free, right? Now, earned media, that's media attention you get from, say, a magazine, a website, interview on a podcast, somebody sharing your content. That's earned media. So if Channel 6 in Philadelphia interviews me, that's earned media, meaning I've earned that. I didn't have to pay for it. It's earned. Say you send out a very compelling tweet. Somebody retweets it and they share it. That's earned media. So owned media doesn't cost you anything after you get it. Earned media is free media. That means you've earned it. And then there's paid media. That's what everybody talks about. That's media that you pay for, like your social media posts, billboards, direct mail, TV, radio, commercials, or whatever. Those are the 3 types of media. And the way you get traffic is with media. Now, in terms of bank accounts and profitability, the most profitable media that you can have is your owned media. You own that. Earned media is next. You're getting people to share your media, share your content. Okay, you could be on somebody else's podcast. That's earned media. You're doing an interview, they're talking about your business or your products or yourself or whatever. That's earned media. That's great. You don't pay for that either, but you can't control that. And next, we're talking about paid media. You can control paid media. That's the reason you're advertising on all these other platforms, because you don't have enough owned or earned media and you have to pay for your media. And I've talked about this ad nauseum, but if what you're selling doesn't pay for your media and advertising costs, that means you're going to go backwards. You're not going to make any money. So it's imperative to create owned media and earned media. So what we want to talk about now is ways to grow your database, which in turn should be growing your revenues by using owned media, earned media, and paid media. But before we do that, guys, let me just give you my social media contact information and my resource links. So then we'll finish up with the last quarter of the program. Now, I mentioned at the top of the show, my new book is out, A New Black Wall Street, Circulating the Black Dollar Worldwide by Building Successful E-Commerce Businesses. So if you're interested in building a successful, sustainable e-commerce business, go to anewblackwallstreet.com. Pick yourself up a copy, $14.95 for the print version, $9.95 for the digital version. Now, if you're super serious about building your e-commerce business, my flagship program, pound for pound, the best program on the market, Brand Builder Academy Elite. You can go to bbaelite.com and you can enroll. It is a 15-week implementation program that takes you from product ideation all the way to selling on your site and other applicable websites. And this is good for anybody that wants to build a physical products brand or a digital products brand. Brand Builder Academy Elite, bbaelite.com. Also, I mentioned at the top of the show, 2 platforms I created to help circulate dollars in the worldwide black economy. The first one is besmartbyblack.com. So if you're a black product producer and you want to sell your product to black consumers worldwide, upload your product information to besmartbyblack.com. It is free. And that way you can connect with people all over the world to sell your physical product. Now, I didn't forget you freelancers. So if you do anything on Fiverr.com or freelancer.com, go to hireblackfreelancers.com, HIRE, blackfreelancers.com. Once again, upload your content. It is free. So now you can connect with black consumers and black business owners that want to hire black freelancers. And lastly, but not least, I mentioned at the top of the show, my new BEB Academy, rebranded, rebooted, is out. You have new content that drops every month. So even if you're in the academy, stay in there because there's content that drops every month. And we have stuff that focuses on first-time entrepreneurs, experienced entrepreneurs. If you want to learn about e-commerce, if you want to learn about marketing, you want to learn about financing, if you want to learn how to set up your business, be it in LLCs, S Corp, C Corp, all of that is in the academy. Go to bebacademy.com. Now, that's a mouthful. The new website is probably going to drop not this Monday, but the next Monday. So right now, just go to bebconnect.com and everything I talked about, my social media contact information and the resources I just mentioned are at bebconnect.com. Now, if you want to connect with me and you got something long, make sure you email me at jjones@blackentrepreneurblueprint.com. Facebook, connect with me. Just go and type in Black Entrepreneur Blueprint and connect with us on Facebook. Twitter, it's jjones001. Instagram, I have 2 IG accounts. The first one is jjones for real, JAYJONES. The number 4, REAL. The second one is Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. YouTube, make sure you go to my YouTube channel, guys. I have additional content that's coming out on YouTube. So just go to YouTube, type in Black Entrepreneur Blueprint and hit the subscribe button. Also, in terms, if you're on Clubhouse, you can follow me there at I am J Jones, at I am J Jones on Clubhouse. Also, my new call-in app show, Ask J Live. It's exclusively on the call-in app. And you can find me there at AskJLive.com. Or if you're already on call-in, then you can hit me at AskJLive. So those are all of my contact information and resource links. Just go to bebconnect.com. You're going to go to the website and there'll be links on the site. Now, once again, next week, the site should be up. So it's going to be super impressive, man. We've been working behind the scenes on that. And I'm not going to have to give out all of this contact information. I know it's a mouthful. All right, let's ready to close out the show, guys, with our last section. And we're going to talk about ways to grow your database using owned media, earned media, and paid media. So we understand the focus of building a database, why we build a database. because your monies, your revenues are going to be a function of how big and responsive your database is. So I gave you the example of business owner A versus business owner B at the beginning of today's episode. One had a 1,000-person database. The other one had a 15,000-person database selling the same exact product, the same conversion rate, and the money was totally different. Once again, the difference between a $100 launch and a $1 million product launch is your database. I want y'all to get that through your head, guys. So that's what you focus on, the database. That's going to give you the money that you're looking for. So it's almost like if you have a big project, right, or you're trying to improve in something, you focus on the process, not necessarily the result right away. Focus on the process. And when you're trying to build $1 million business or a six-figure business, the process, the first part of the process is building your database. You don't know how many people I talk to that focus so much on their product or service, and then once they get that created, then they start trying to sell it, and they have absolutely nobody to sell their product or service to. The reason is they didn't build the database. And before we jump into this real quick, real life example. One of my buddies, a wine podcast, I told him the first thing that you want to do is you want to create a database. So create a wine newsletter. Do that while you're preparing to launch your podcast. So when you do launch it, you're not going to be launching the podcast to crickets. All right. It's almost like if you're doing a podcast, and it happened to me, it was almost like I'm lifting my window up, talking out the window when I first started because I had no database. Don't sleep on this, guys. Get your database. But let's talk real quick about ways to grow your database with paid, owned media, earned media, and paid media. So with owned media, number one, I talk about building your platform, and a platform that you own and control, your website, a blog, a podcast, a newsletter. That's your platform. Your platform allows you to create the database. Your platform is what you use to communicate with people or your audience on a consistent basis. So Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, the podcast, is my platform. I communicate with the BEB family on a consistent basis. Every Monday, 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, you get new heat from Black Entrepreneur Blueprint and Jay Jones. So we're talking about owned media and some of the ways that you can grow your database, which in turn is going to grow your revenue. Also with owned media, create consistent content that your audience wants and needs. Consistency. So we're on episode 386. So for 386 weeks consecutively, I've had a new show. So you want to create consistent content that your audience wants or needs. Another way that you can create your database or help build your database with owned media is you transition your customers' consumption of your content into them signing up for your database. Once again, a lead magnet. It could be a newsletter. It could be a video, audio, white paper, case study. So you want that audience to transition not just to listening or reading or watching your content, but to sign up for your database. Okay? Also, you want to be able to nurture the own media and create a consistent communication schedule with your audience. So once you get them in the database, you still need to communicate with them with quality stuff. You don't need to, every time you reach out to the audience, you don't want to be selling them something. You have to provide value. And so with owned media, these are some of the things you can do to increase your database. Now let's talk about earned media. Now remember, earned media is when somebody shares your stuff, you get an article written about you, or you're on a podcast or whatever. You've earned that. You're not paying for that. So here's some of the things, ways you can grow your database with earned media. So the first thing, guys, is if you have a business, create a PR kit about your business and send it to media companies. And when I say media companies, I'm talking about blogs, newspapers, podcasts, and all of that good stuff. So create that PR kit about your business and send it out. Now, there are also services that send out public relations stuff and media kits for you too. So one of them is called blackpr.com, blackpr, like publicrelations.com. So they'll send out press releases and things of that nature to the black press, blackpr.com. Now, if you're listening to this or when you're not able to write down any notes, guys, make sure you sign up for the BEB newsletter. That comes out every Monday and every Thursday, 9 a.m. and you'll have the show notes already in the newsletter. So if you're driving to work or you're working out right now and you can't write things down, you'll still have access to the links when you sign up for the newsletter. All right, so we're talking about earned media and ways to grow your database. So I mentioned create a PR kit for your business and send it out to media companies, or you can use a service to send out press releases or things of that nature. Now, another thing you can do is you can hire a PR company to get media exposure. Now, if you're ready for that, that's great. But you can have a company that's going to get you interviews on podcasts. It's going to get you written up in newspapers, magazines, and on the internet. So you can hire a PR company. Another thing you can do, guys, is you can actively solicit for media coverage by creating a one sheet. And a one sheet basically is a synopsis of you and your business. And so when you go on podcasts or when you're trying to market yourself, a lot of times companies will ask you, hey, do you have a one sheet? And you can get that done. If you don't know how to do one, I'm sure somebody on hireblackfreelancers.com can help you out. But it's a professional sheet and it has a photo of you. And if you're a writer, it'll have your book. If you're an entrepreneur, it'll talk about your business. It's just really a brief synopsis of you and your business. So it's called the one sheet. Okay. Next, you can send out information to social media influencers. All right. That's something that's pretty common. You can DM them, you can hit them up or whatever. So you can send information. And if it's pertinent information and it aligns what they're talking about, maybe they'll retweet it or whatever or share it. Also, another way to get earned media is you can comment on social media posts with pertinent information, and hopefully people will share that or they'll see that. Okay. You can be active and comment on appropriate Facebook pages. So you can get in there if you're into a certain type of industry. People may have questions. You may go in there and leave a comment. And so that way you can get some earned media. People may reach out to you for more information. Also, you can be volunteer to be a guest on podcasts and radio shows. We talked about that. And here's something, guys, that I don't know if you're familiar with, but I've heard about it for years and I've used it sometime and it's been really successful. It's called newsjacking. So newsjacking is the art or science of injecting your ideas into a breaking news story so you and your ideas get noticed. So there's a guy that coined the term. I forgot his name, but you can go to newsjacking.com, newsjacking.com. So something is happening out there. So let's talk about the Kyle Rittenhouse shooter out there in Wisconsin or wherever he was. Say you wrote a comment or you did something and you implemented that in one of your tweets or in an IG post. Okay, so you're piggybacking off of that news, and hopefully people will pay attention to it. So you could put a hashtag, Kyle Rittenhouse or whatever, Ahmaud Arbery, whatever it is. But you can do that for anything that's newsworthy, that's getting a lot of different traction. Another tool that you can use, guys, is called BuzzSumo, BuzzSumo.com, BuzzSumo.com. And in BuzzSumo, that actually scans the internet to find out the stories and topics that are very popular. So you use BuzzSumo and then you can write content or put out videos or whatever, however you communicate. And then that way you can newsjack and you can play off of that topic that's trending right now. So what we're talking about, guys, is ways to grow your database through owned media, which we went through earlier, earned media, which we just finished, and now we're going to talk about paid media. So paid media, guys, is very simple. It's basically you advertising your lead magnet or your product or service or whatever, or your solution on social media, print, podcast, written, digital, billboard, radio, TV, etc. Wherever you want to pay to play, that's what paid media is, okay? You can also look to do joint ventures. So with other people or other companies. So I know a lot of people that do online courses. What they'll do is they'll partner up with people that are in a similar space and they'll pay them 50% of whatever they sell. So you can do joint ventures. You also have affiliate marketing. You're paying, but you're not paying up front per se. You're paying once the product gets out there or gets sold. Also, you can hire social media influencers. But paid media is exactly what it is. If you're going in your pocket to get exposure, then that's paid media. Also, don't forget, guys, tomorrow, Tuesday, December 7th, I'm piggybacking off of today's conversation, And I'm going to talk about 3 little used platforms that can exponentially grow your database and drive record sales on my Ask J Live podcast. Tuesday, December 7th is every Tuesday, 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Go to askjlive.com to subscribe. It's exclusively on the call-in app. So right now it's just for iPhone users. So go to askjlive.com. There'll be a button. Click that, and then you can come and talk to me live every Tuesday, 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Talk to me about your business, my business, entrepreneurship in general. But today, family, we're talking about the number one metric successful entrepreneurs look at every morning, and it's not money. Money is important. It's a tool. That's what we're in this for. But we need to focus on the database, which in turn is going to give us the money. And I think that's something that's been so overlooked by most entrepreneurs, because everybody's money. That's cool. What do you have to do to get that money? What's the smart way to get that money or build a foundational business that has predictable income? See, you can make money, right? It's almost like you can put something up online and you can sell the product and yeah, you made money, but you haven't built a system. You haven't built a database to do that. So you're like one off. So for example, that's like you going to the flea market and you got some extra incense or something that your cousin gave you. And now you go to the flea market and you sell out all of that incense. You don't care who you sold it to. You had no real game plan. You were just making money. There's a difference between making money and building a business. Building a business is strategic. It's systems. It's about building systems. And I talked the other week about the 2 systems you need to build: a lead generation system. These are the first 2, and a fulfillment system. How do you generate consistent leads? Okay, which you're going to put in your database. And then how do you fulfill those sales that come out of that lead generation system? So you can do the one-off thing and be like, yeah, but you always are going to be on the hamster wheel. Building a database gives you predictability. I literally can tell you when I drop a new product based on how many people are in my database that have shown interest in a particular area. So say it's e-commerce. So I've tagged my database. So people that come in through this landing page or this lead magnet, I know they're interested in whatever that is about. So say it's e-commerce. So if I come out with a new product or service in e-commerce, I can pretty much tell you or guesstimate what type of response I'll get. Now, a lot has to do with the pricing of the product, what type of product or service it is, and also the verbiage. How am I presenting it? Am I presenting it as a solution to a major problem? So it's all types of things that you have to tweak and make sure are right. But the fundamental aspects of building a business that's going to generate consistent revenues and money for you is grounded in a database. And I'm going to say this ad nauseum too. When Borders bookstores went out of business, Barnes and Nobles didn't buy their books. They didn't buy their locations. They literally bought their database out of bankruptcy. That's all they wanted, because they knew that database was gold. That database was the same type of person that was buying from their store. So now we're buying your customers. We don't care about your other stuff, your books or your buildings. We just want your customer base. Your database is the biggest asset that your business has if you're running a business correctly. Some of you who are listening to this, you probably, it's like getting hit in the head with a cinder block. You're like, oh, damn, I never thought about it. But that's a good thing. Because when I started out in business, I wasn't really thinking about that either until it's like, damn, every time I'm trying to sell something, it's like running on a hamster wheel. It's like a one-off. You know, I tell the story when me and 2 of my buddies started this bamboo pillow business in the mall years ago. So we were selling these pillows, these memory foam pillows that had a bamboo covering. And, you know, we were doing well with it. But one of my partners, and they're actually brothers, one of my partners was like, man, I'm just trying to sell pillows. And where me and his brother were like, nah, we're trying to build a brand. We're trying to create our own brand, build a database. So now we can sell more than the pillows. We can sell the sheets. We can sell the memory foam beds, and we want to build that database. And these two guys who are physically brothers, blood brothers, they literally almost got in a physical fight because one of them was just trying to make money and the other one understood that we need to build a database and build a brand. So which one of the brothers are you? Are you just trying to make money by selling one-offs? Or are you looking to build a serious business that you can create predictable income? When you have that database, family, you can turn the faucet off and on as you will. As long as you have quality products and services and you have a responsive database, which you need to scrub, like at least every 3 to 4 months to get the people who don't open your emails, get them off of there. So the way I scrub mine is if somebody doesn't open an email in 6 months, then I get them out the database. And my database is over 65,000 people throughout the seven plus years I've been rocking with Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. That's just with BEB. Now, with my other product businesses and, like that, my brands, all of them have a database. I'd be a fool to have a business without having a database. It's easier to keep customers and provide them quality products and services as opposed to getting customers. It costs more money to get a customer than it does to keep a customer. All right. So that's why when you create this owned media, that's why it's so important. You own that media. Now you got that owned media that's created that database that allows you to tap into your audience anytime you want. That earned media, you can't control the earned media. Black Enterprise might not come to Jay Jones and say, hey, we want to do a piece on you. I can't control that. Okay. Inc. Magazine is not going to come to Jay Jones right now and say, hey, they might. Hey, we want to do a piece on you. That would be great. CNN might, if I could control that, hell, I'd be on CNN all the time. I can't control earned media. I can control owned media and I can control paid media. But paid media can actually kill you if you don't know what you're doing. If you're spending more money than you're making, then you hustling backwards. And trust me, you're going to go out of business. So what's the smart thing to do? I just had a conversation with a couple this morning. They had a lot of different businesses. And I said, focus on the businesses that are going to make you money right now. But for the businesses that you're working on, I said, build your database. So when you're ready to jump into that, you'll have people to talk to. And your database starting off, once again, you want emails, but starting off, it could be as simple as a Facebook group. But those social media platforms should be used to generate emails and or mobile cell phone numbers. That's your database. Your likes on Facebook ain't a database. Okay? It's not a database because they shut you down. It's gone. Poof. All right? Your Instagram followers, your Twitter followers, that's not a database. Hear me, family. Hear me. It's great. You want that. You want to have a social media presence, but you want to drive them to your database. And it's as simple as this. It can be a Facebook, Instagram ad to a landing page. And all that is a page. It could be a one-page website. And on that one-page website, you have a lead magnet, some quality content that audience wants or needs to know. So if you're trying to start a podcast, the 3 best microphones to start your podcast. Put your name here and email here, get the checklist. Guess what? You're on my database. I know that you're interested in microphones. I know that you're interested in starting a podcast. So now that I have that information, if I have any other products or service that pertain to those interests, then guess who I'm coming to? If I got 10,000 people that got that downloaded that PDF, and I come out with the Jay Jones podcast mic XL 225 or whatever it is, guess what? I guarantee you I'm going to sell some because I took the time to build the database. Man, I'm getting amped up over here, but I'm telling y'all, this is one of the biggest reasons people fail when it comes to building a business. You're selling product, you're making money, but you're not building a foundation. You're building your foundation on sand and not rock. You need to build your foundation on rock. And that rock is a database and a platform. Database and a platform. Database is who your audience is, who you communicate with. The platform is how you communicate with them. Podcast, blog, newsletter, email, video, whatever it is. That's how you build a successful business. Now, before we close on out, guys, we were talking about the number one metric successful entrepreneurs look at every morning, and it's not money, it's your database. Now, each and every week, guys, we get more and more downloads, and that's attributed to you, the BEB family. Man, we've been rocking for 7.5+ years, going on 386 episodes and counting. I can't see it stopping, God willing, until it's time to stop, until I hear that, it's time to move on to a new season, but I can't see that anywhere right now. Once again, guys, we're revamping the website. The content that we have coming out when this new site drops, probably within the next week, is going to be amazing. So we want blackentrepreneurblueprint.com to be the resource for Black entrepreneurs. So you're going to be able to jump on there. I need to learn something about e-commerce. You got all types of content, resources for e-commerce. Man, I need to learn something about strategy and mindset. All type of resources for that. So that's what we've been working on behind the scenes. And so I'm super proud of it. I've been showing people the website. It's still not up yet live for you guys to see it, but I've been showing people, and they're like, this is crazy. And I was like, it's a lot of content. And my guys that are doing the website, I'm actually going to have them on the show because they've done a yeoman's job. And just being able to get all the content that I have over these years together in a format that makes sense, that will allow people to go to whatever resources they need. Not everybody's interested in everything. So we're going to have all these resources and continue to build all types of master classes, free workshops, paid stuff, online courses, like the Academy, all types of different opportunities to elevate your entrepreneur IQ. And I say this each and every week, guys, it's not about me. It's not about you. It's about us. It's about building an economic power base in the Black community so we can level up. It's about building and supporting Black-owned businesses. It's about doing for self and betting on yourself. Love you guys. I'll see you same time next week. Peace.